after receiving the blessing from the celebrant, he will come to the altar, take the book of the Gospels, and then he will go in procession to the ambo, okay, for reading the Gospel passage, for proclaiming the Gospel. When he goes there, he should not say, "The Lord be with you," with extended hands. He should, with folded hands only, he should say, "The Lord be with you." Whether it is a deacon or priest, whoever it is, whoever be the celebrant, whoever be the one going to proclaim the Gospel. And you should remember, Gospel proclamation and homily are strictly reserved to the ordained ministers. Gospel proclamation and homily are strictly reserved to the ordained ministers. And ordained ministers mean bishop, priest, deacons. Okay? Only these three categories of people are known as ordained ministers. They always, everything we are speaking only in the context of the liturgy, only we are speaking. We are not speaking anything now outside. Okay? Our main concern is we have to give practice to the celebration of the Mass, which is the chief liturgy, no? Which is the most important liturgy. Now we are speaking in that context. Okay? When he goes to the proclamation of the Gospel, with folded hands he will say, "The Lord be with you." And then he will say the reading from the Holy Gospel according to so and so. Then he will make sign of the cross on the Bible or on the book of the Gospels, on the forehead, on the lips, on the heart. And then he will put thurible, okay, incensation with 3 into 3 to the book of the Gospels. Then he will proclaim the Gospel. And Gospel proclamation is not a presidential function, but it is a ministerial function. Did you understand this one? Gospel proclamation is not a presidential function, but a ministerial function. That means if there is a deacon, it is he who reads the Gospel, proclaims the Gospel. If there is no deacon, but there are some concelebrants, one of the concelebrant will go for proclaiming the Gospel. The main celebrant as such will not go. Suppose no deacon, no concelebrant, then priest himself, celebrant himself will go and proclaim. In any case, the one who is proclaiming should be an ordained minister, and if there is an ordained minister assisting or concelebrating, then it is their duty to proclaim the Gospel. Okay? In the absence of other ministers, then the celebrant himself will proclaim. Then comes the homily. Homily also is strictly reserved to the ordained ministers. In no case anybody else should be allowed. Even if they are fourth-year theologians who need practice, in the name of practice we cannot give them in the proper celebration of the Mass. Let them go to the village and proclaim in the previous day evening how much you want. Or before starting the Mass, you proclaim how much you want. Or after the Mass you do. But within the celebration of the Mass, it is the right of the main celebrant to preach. It is by right, it is the celebrant. But he can delegate a deacon or any of the concelebrants. That he can do it. So, by right, it is the main celebrant, but he can ask any of the concelebrants or the deacon to preach, and then they can do it. But in no case a lay person be allowed for this, even if he is a highly trained theologian. Okay? Even if a highly trained theologian lay person is there, he may be able to preach much better than the priest and the bishops and everybody. They should not be allowed in the context of the liturgy. Outside they can do it. Clear or no?
Yes.
Okay. Once that is over, then the creed. Okay? Next one is creed. The ordinary of the Latin liturgy, ordinary creed for the Latin liturgy is the Nicene Creed. Okay, is the Nicene Creed. But during the Sundays of Lent, Nicene Creed could be very well be substituted by Apostles' Creed. It could be substituted during Lenten Sundays. Okay, but on a regular basis, what is expected to be recited on every Sunday and solemnity feast days is the Nicene Creed. Okay, occasionally, especially on Lenten Sundays, Nicene Creed could be substituted by Apostles' Creed. In any case, creed, ordinary is Nicene Creed. Clear? Then comes universal prayer or prayer of the faithful. The missal contains some examples, some samples for the general intercessions. Okay, in the appendix section, towards the end of the missal, you will find some general intercessions. Okay, for different seasons as well as for ordinary times, and some important feasts. You will find general intercessions, but not bound to follow only them. You can make your own prayers also. Okay, you can prepare your own intercessory prayers also, but there is a generally accepted order of prayer, order of composing the intercessory prayers. The general order is like this. First prayer should be for the church. Okay, first universal prayer for the church, for Pope, for bishops, and for all those are in the authority, and for the whole church in general. Then the second prayer is for the world leaders. Okay, second prayer is for the world leaders. Then third prayer for all those who are in need of special prayers. Okay, special intentions. Special intentions. Then fourth prayer for the sick and suffering of this community, or for the celebrating community. Special intention. Then prayer for the celebrating community. And then fifth prayer generally for all those who are deprived in the society. Okay, all those are deprived in the society, for the poor people, for suffering, for all those things. For deprived masses, that means for deprived people. Okay, we feel same, but something is special here. Here we are praying for those who are specially in need of, suppose some special intention is there. Now a married wedding mass is going on. Okay, at this point you will pray for them or for their family, like that. But this fifth one is for all the deprived people, those are in need of special our prayers, or those who do not have food to eat. Okay, not for a specific intention, but it is a general intention for everybody. Okay, but keeping this in mind, you can compose your own prayers, as well as especially in this case when it comes to know, you can make your own prayers. Okay, you can add, need not follow exactly the same order, but this is the generally accepted order. whichever prayer you are making, the first prayer should be for the universal church. Okay, that should be taken for, that is taken for granted. It should be for the church. Then afterwards all other intentions you make your own, no problem. But they should be short and clear. They should be proper prayers, intercessory prayers, short intercessory prayers with clarity of thought. Okay, that should be kept in mind. So with this, the liturgy of the word will come to an end with general intercessions, which the priest himself starts with a prayer. Before the priest starts, other fellows should not come to the ambo and start the prayer of the faithful. No, no. The starting and ending of the universal prayer is always by the celebrant. Okay? The starting and ending of the this is prayer of the faithful should be done by the celebrant, and then intentions can be announced by others. And now, by right, it is the duty of the deacon to proclaim the intentions for the general intercessions. No? It is the deacon who has to do this. But in the absence of the deacon, some other minister also can do it, no problem. But when there is a deacon present on the sanctuary, then all these things like if general intercessions, and then any other announcements to be done, such things should be carried on by the deacon. Others should not jump on the sanctuary unnecessarily. No extra movements allowed. Okay? Those are on the sanctuary, they will carry out everything, including the general intercessions that is supposed to be done by the deacon, if there is a deacon assisting at the mass. So with this, we conclude the liturgy of the word section. Okay? Now comes the liturgy of the Eucharist. Liturgy of the Eucharist, first part is offertory. No? Okay? It is better that we carry the gifts in procession to the altar. Better, but no rule that it should be done every day like that. Okay? On important days, it is foreseen that there is a procession, offertory procession, in which the gifts that are required for the celebration of the Eucharist, as well as gifts that are required for performance of charity, works of charity, everything could be collected at this point. So it is better to encourage the people to bring the bread and wine to the altar. Okay, on some important occasions at least, better to bring in procession. But whether it is in procession to bringing or the credence table is already on the sanctuary itself, okay, the deacon will go and prepare the altar. Okay, the deacon will go and prepare the altar. If there is no deacon, priest himself will come and prepare the altar with the gifts. Okay, so you should study those personal prayers while pouring water, okay, in the wine, and then while purifying the vessels, okay, and then when you go to the bishop for blessing, for the proclamation of the gospel, bless me Father, and such prayers, personal prayers, which are you are supposed to do it, you should study by heart, or at least the sense that you should keep it in mind. Better you study by heart those prayers. Now here such a need comes. While pouring water in the wine, the deacon should make a personal prayer, which is a silent prayer. Should not say loudly. Okay? Personal prayer is to be done. Through the mystery of this water and wine, may we share in the divinity of Anu, shader of humanity. There is a small prayer is to be done there. Okay. After that one, the next one is the priest invites, okay, the people to pray for himself. Pray, brethren, that my sacrifice and yours may be acceptable to God the Almighty Father. He invites. Okay. Then the response to this invitation to pray for the priest should be given standing up. Right now, the response to pray, brethren, The response to pray, brethren, should be given in a standing position. During the preparation of the gifts, all are sitting, is it? Okay? And then after preparing the gifts and venerating the gifts and the altar with incense, the priest, after washing his hands with the prayer that is accompanying, okay, he will ask the community to pray for him. And the response should be given standing up. Till then people are sitting there. But when they begin response to this prayer, all should stand up and say. Clear or no? Okay, no? Then, after this one, the priest will make the prayer over the gifts, okay, which you will find in the missal, along with the collect and post-communion prayer. You will find these three prayers together. After making that prayer, we will begin the Eucharistic prayer proper. Okay, with the starting of the dialogue, the Lord be with you. Okay, the response should be said by everybody. Anyway, all are standing at that moment. There is no big serious problem. And then immediately after the preface, which concludes with the Sanctus, no? Sanctus. This Sanctus is by nature it is a hymn. It is a hymn of the angels. Not a prayer to be recited, but it is a song to be sung. Therefore, insist on singing the Sanctus as far as possible. When it is not possible, you may recite it, but try to sing always the Sanctus. Okay? Now, after the Sanctus, there is a small, this one anamnesis prayer will be made. Then comes the epiclesis. Okay? Right. During the epiclesis, all the concelebrants extend both their hands over the gifts. During the epiclesis, all the concelebrants must extend their hands over the gifts. Okay, and the sign is like this. Okay, the sign of epiclesis is always like this. Okay, both the hands, no, but one hand extension is not foreseen by the missal. Both the hands have. So take the bread in the hand, make a slight bow, look at the host or the chalice that is in your hand, then pronounce the words of consecration. Clear or not? Then during this time, when the main celebrant holds and pronounces the words of consecration, the concelebrants will extend one hand, right hand, towards the gift that is held by the main celebrant. Looking at that one, pointing out towards that gift, he will also join the main celebrant with the words. At this point, single hand, right hand. Okay? That time also concelebrants also make a slight bow, look at the host or wine that is in the hand of the main celebrant, extend the hand pointing out. This is epiclesis. This is pointing out. The consecration, all the concelebrants point out with the right hand the gifts held by the main celebrant, point out. Then they will join in prayer, but in a low voice. Their voice should never dominate the voice of the main celebrant. That is the rule. Okay? The concelebrants should say the prayer with a subdued voice. Okay? Subdued voice. In a low voice he should pray. Others should not be disturbed by that. He should say, that is true. All should say that those prayers, those words of consecration, but all the voices put together should not distort the voice of the main celebrant. His voice should be the only voice heard well by everybody. Okay, that should not be disturbed. That means they should say very in a low voice. Clear or no? So also wine during the consecration of the sacred blood, they will be pointing out, and then when the main celebrant lifts the host or the wine, consecrated host or wine, the position of holding is, in general, it is understood is to the eye level. This is the chalice or the host is in my eyes level. Notice the manner of holding. Eyes level, neither low nor high, but general understandable level is eye level. This is the correct one. When he holds like this, pointing out to the people to see, all the concelebrants must look at what is here. All eyes should be fixed on the Blessed Sacrament at this point here. Okay, and at this point, when this is pointed out, and including throughout the presidential prayers, throughout the prayer, Eucharistic prayer, no sound, whether by way of prayer or song or organ play or any, nothing should be there. Everything should be silent at this point. Okay? During the consecration, the organ, little bit of tacit permission, though Missal does not give it, we may give a little bit of support to the singer, to the main celebrant who is singing. Okay, even if we give that support, once he starts lifting, we should stop completely. No sound should be made, no singing should be done, no prayer should be made, anything. ఓకే మా కొరకు చింతపడిన క్రీస్తు రక్తమా మేము ఆరాధించుతున్నాము స్వామి. ఓకే or ona elnavara, ona sarveshwara, anything of that sort. Nothing should be done. Okay, you are remembering what somebody is doing, and then as much is clear. Yes. Okay, and then after this one, the Eucharistic prayer will follow. Deacon has no part. The mystery of faith is to be declared by the celebrant. Okay, deacon has no part except the acclamations which he says along with everybody, with the people. Okay, including the mystery of faith. When the priest says the mystery of faith, then by your cross and resurrection you have set us free, you are Savior of the world, or any of the prayers that are approved. Okay, okay, one of the three formulas available, okay, by recitation or by singing you use. What is in the missal? Don't go beyond that one. New missal. Okay, what is in the new missal? In the new missal, some old ones are given up, some things are modified. So what is given in the missal only use, one of the three options. Okay, either when we eat this bread or the other two prayers, by your cross and resurrection. Okay, and then Eucharistic prayer will follow as usual, as yesterday we have described, and then doxology time. It is the privilege of the deacon to hold the chalice. Okay, the main celebrant takes the chalice and gives to the deacon. Till then deacon was little behind, now he will come little forward. Okay, on the side of the main celebrant. Main celebrant will give the chalice in his hand, and together with the priest he will lift. Priest will be holding the host, whereas the deacon is holding the chalice, and then doxology is being sung or recited by the celebrant and concelebrants, not the deacon. Though deacon is holding, he should not say the prayer. Okay, he should not say the prayer. At this point you should remember one thing very carefully. During the doxology, only one chalice and one paten are to be lifted. One chalice and one paten are to be held to the sight of the people for the elevation. Clear? Suppose on the altar there are 3, 4 2-in-1 chalices for distribution you have used, and you are kept during the altar, during the offertor itself you kept on the altar, okay, and all are consecrated. During the doxology, some priest will give everybody one thing, no? One ciborium to one chalice to another, one other ciborium to another, he does not have anything in his hand at last. Simply. Don't do, Father, anything, Father. At this point, do only like this. Take the pattern in your hand. If there is a deacon, give the chalice to him. Or else, if there is another consolabrant, give the chalice to one of the consolabrants, only one chalice. And then lift and say. If there is no other minister, both you have to hold and say. That's all. Peace is to be given in a manner acceptable and allowed by the local ordinary, okay, only to the nearest person. In India, this is the way we give peace. In some places, maybe shake hand, but only to the nearest person it should be done. And in a somber manner, where we should not turn anywhere, only to the nearest person we should do. And another rule is, during this time, the priest should never leave the sanctuary. Okay, your exam is only on general instruction of the Roman Missal. As far as the sacrament of reconciliation is concerned, assignment is enough. Okay, that assignment is considered as exam for the subject. But for this one, the only thing which I am going to ask is from general instruction of the Roman Missal. Thoroughly I will ask from top to bottom because I am covering almost everything. Okay, so take down the note properly and you yourself read the full document, because I am not saying the full document, only those mistakes which are possible to make I am trying to correct. Okay, no? Read fully the document. So peace, the manner will be decided by the local ordinaries, and then that should be given only to the nearest person. Priest should never leave the sanctuary during the rite of peace. And then only after this sign of peace, the fraction takes place, breaking the bread, and commingling, breaking a small piece of the bread and putting in the wine. That is called commingling. This fraction and commingling should be done without any gesture. Should be done without any particular gestures. You see, for example, they take the bread and then they will bow and make little time with mouth, they will make one sign of the cross over that. Then they will break. Then they put both the pieces, take one in the hand, break one piece, then make a sign of the cross with the bread over the wine, then they will put it. Have you noticed? None of these are required. None of these are required. Take from the pattern, break it, take a small piece, put it in the wine with the prayers. Through the mingling of this body and blood of Christ, okay, may God grant eternal life to those who receive it. There is a prayer for that one. Say that prayer and mingle it without sound. Without sound. No gestures of making sign of the cross here and there, deep bows, that thing, this thing, everything is avoided. Then after this, you will be making a genuflection. As per the rule, genuflection or a deep bow, whichever you wish, before you are preparing to receive the Holy Communion. Okay, either genuflection or a deep bow is made with the prayer. Okay, with the prayer in preparation for the Eucharistic Communion. Okay, after that one, now your point will come, pointing out, showing and telling, behold the Lamb of God. No? That time also, don't give in the hand of others. Okay, you just take the broken bread, either two pieces or single piece, whatever it is, and either show that one alone, or take the chalice also in your hand, half lifting, and then show the bread and say. Okay, behold the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world, blessed are those who are called to the banquet of the Lamb. Okay, that we will be saying loudly. Okay, but that time don't give to concelebrants. Only the main celebrant alone is holding and showing and telling. That's all. Then you receive the Holy Communion. Here one reminder for the concelebrants. The celebrant as well as the concelebrants. Okay, that means all the celebrants, priests and deacons should receive the communion in both the species. Okay, in both the species which are consecrated during that mass. Okay, which are consecrated during that mass, which means the priest celebrants are not allowed to take communion from the tabernacle. Within the celebration, outside the celebration, we may give communion even to the priests from the tabernacle, no problem. Okay, within the celebration of the liturgy, priests should receive in both the species. Okay, so they should receive in both the species and from the sacrament that is being consecrated that day itself. And then after the they are receiving, they will go for distribution to the people. No, okay. This one, communion in two species is a preferred position of the church, but church does not insist that both species should be distributed to everybody every day. That is not foreseen. If it is a small group like seminarians or sisters group, the group is small, okay, we can distribute in two species. Or even in a parish context, on regular days, ordinary days, when there are only few people, or during the wedding mass or baptism mass where only few people are there, you may go for distributing in two species. Okay, but otherwise wherever there is no possibility like that, distribute in single species while explaining to the people. Okay, while explaining to the people the doctrine of the church regarding communion. According to the teaching of the Tridentine Council, it says Jesus is fully, wholly and fully and substantially present in every particle of the Eucharist. Every particle of the Eucharist. Therefore, one who receives Christ in one species, single species, is not lacking anything. Okay, he is receiving full Christ. Therefore, distributing in single species is preferred in this kind of cases. They should be taught the doctrine. All right. So, another important thing which you should notice and should write down and study is self-communion. Self-communion is not allowed except for the clerics, except for the celebrants. Self-communion not allowed except for the celebrants. Okay.